I never thought things would fall apart so quickly or cut so deep. I'd built a life with a woman I believed would be my forever. We had weathered challenges before, and I truly believed our bond was strong enough to survive anything. But I was wrong. One evening, without warning, my wife sat across from me and told me she had been unfaithful. Her voice was steady. No tears, no trembling, just a cold truth laid bare. I kept waiting for her to take it back, to say she was sorry, that it had been a moment of weakness. But instead, she looked me straight in the eye and said, "Maybe you should stop being so close-minded. I need to live how I want." That sentence hit harder than the confession itself. She wasn't just asking for forgiveness. She was asking me to be okay with it, to accept a betrayal as if it were something small and inconsequential. I felt hollow, like someone had reached inside me and ripped out everything I believed was real. For a while, I lived in that broken place. But slowly, through the pain, something else began to emerge, clarity. I realized I couldn't keep playing the role of the quiet, forgiving husband who always looked the other way. If she wanted out, if she saw no problem with disregarding what we built, then maybe it was time for me to reclaim my sense of worth. And that's when Clara started drifting back into my mind. Clara, her sister. We'd never been close, not really. Their relationship had always been tense, years of quiet bitterness simmering under the surface. I'd often found myself stuck between them, unsure how to help ease their distance. But Clara had always struck me as more straightforward. Less performance, more honesty. And though she and I rarely shared more than a few conversations at family events, I caught glimpses, subtle looks, fleeting smiles, that hinted there was something unspoken between us. It all came to a head during a family trip the three of us had agreed to before the truth came out. Awkward timing, to say the least, but we went through with it. From the moment we arrived, the tension between the sisters was suffocating. Every exchange between them was clipped and cold, every glance loaded with history and resentment. With Clara, though, things felt calm, natural. While my wife spent most of the trip withdrawn, Clara was open, present. One evening, after a long day exploring the city, my wife turned in early. Clara and I stayed up in the living room, nursing a bottle of wine between us, the low hum of jazz filling the quiet spaces. We talked, really talked, about things that had weighed on both of us for a long time. Family wounds, her frustration with always being cast aside, my heartache over the end of my marriage. And then something shifted, a pause in the conversation, a long look that held something deeper than just sympathy. That one glance said everything. I could feel the connection, dangerous but undeniable. I knew where it could lead, and I knew what it could mean, but I didn't stop myself. When I leaned in to kiss her, she didn't move away. That night was a blur of emotion, guilt, longing, fear, and relief. It was messy and raw, but also real. Clara didn't make me feel like I had to perform. She didn't ask me to ignore my pain or pretend everything was fine. She simply saw me, the hurt, the anger, the exhaustion, and stayed anyway. Of course, it didn't stay a secret for long. When the truth surfaced, my wife exploded. She was stunned, furious. Her outrage was tangled with jealousy and disbelief. She couldn't wrap her head around the fact that I had turned to the one person she had spent years resenting. In that moment, the balance shifted. For the first time, she was the one left outside, questioning everything. Clara and I kept things quiet for a while. We knew how it would look. To our families, our friends, and the tension between the sisters, already strained, became unbearable. By the end of that trip, they barely spoke. Every interaction was laced with bitterness. And though part of me felt responsible, another part knew I had finally stopped allowing myself to be silenced by her version of love. Clara and I weren't perfect. Nothing about our connection was clean or easy. But in the middle of all the wreckage, it felt like something honest, something mine. I wasn't trying to punish anyone or play games. I was just done letting someone else's betrayal define my worth. I still don't know if what I did was right in the eyes of others. But I do know this. After everything I endured, choosing Clara wasn't about revenge. It was about remembering that I deserved more than indifference. that I didn't have to accept being disrespected just to keep the peace. Sometimes, the only way to take your power back is to stop following the script others expect of you, to write your own ending, no matter how chaotic it looks from the outside. And that's what I chose, not out of spite, but out of survival.